for the win.
Thank you very much, Mike Gleason. It is a gorgeous picture postcard afternoon in central Indiana. This is the Big Ten homecoming for the Indiana Hoosiers as they take on the Michigan Wolverines. Leading the Wolverines, Lloyd Carr, beginning his third season as Michigan head coach. He is 20-8 overall. He served 15 years as an assistant on the Michigan staff. And in his first year, his first Indiana homecoming as head coach, Cam Cameron. He is the 24th head coach in IU football history. Michigan leads this series big. This is the 52nd meeting between the two schools. The Wolverines a 42-9 lead. They've won 22 of the last 23 contests. The lone Hoosier win in the last 23 years came here in Bloomington, 14-0 in 1987. The Crimson and Cream has been introduced to this crowd. There they are, the black helmets and the red jerseys with the white pants. And let's take a look at the comparison of these two lines up front. You take a look at it, Michigan on the left, Indiana on the right. This is a big offensive line for Indiana.
It's a big offensive line, and that's one of the advantages Indiana thinks they have. They don't think they can outrun Michigan to the perimeter. They think they can run it right at them.
And of course, they are taking note from what Notre Dame accomplished last week, and that is Notre Dame controlled the football running right at the Michigan Wolverines. Dropping back deep, Clarence Williams for the Michigan Wolverines to receive this opening kickoff. And as we mentioned, a beautiful day. Temperature in the 80s, sunshiny day, a little light breeze from right to left across Memorial Stadium. And getting set to kick off, you're looking at number 30, Andy Payne. He was outstanding last week at Wisconsin. Connected on all 4 field goals at Wisconsin, hitting 35, 32, 30, and then a 43-yarder that gave the Hoosiers the lead in the final minute of the ball game, only to see Matt Davenport come back and hit the game winner moments later for the Wisconsin Badgers. Indiana and Michigan set to go. And the wind a little bit stronger than perhaps suggested, blows the ball off the tee, so Payne resets. Michigan at 3-0, ranked number 6 in the nation, and Indiana at 1-3. I think he's going to have to get somebody to hold that ball, doesn't he?
I think you're right. Always the outside guy will come in and hold the ball because that's the safety on the kickoff team, so it's not important that he gets a full head of steam going as the ball is kicked.
Now we're set. Got the wind to his back. And we're underway. Good leverage into this kick. It is Williams a yard deep. Clarence Williams cut down across the 10-yard line. Aaron Warneke makes the stop for Indiana. And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Michigan Wolverines. They are short of their 20-yard line. As we mentioned before, the Michigan Wolverines are led by a 5th-year senior quarterback, as you see them huddled up at the bottom of your screen. Down to the 30-yard line, Brian Griese, and according to the Michigan coaches, no one has prepared more diligently for this season than this 5th-year senior. Chris Floyd is the lone setback in the Michigan formation behind Griese. A slot to the top of your screen. Griese with a short drop. There's the slant right through the hands of Clarence Williams, the running back who was out of the slot on the far side. Fairfield in starting lineups. For the Michigan Wolverines, you're going to see a lot of number 80, Jeremy Tooman, the All-American candidate, Michigan's leading yardage receiver. On the offensive line, this is not as big a line as Indiana faced last week. It's a smaller, more athletic line, and John Jansen is starting for the 3rd consecutive season on that line. Michigan very athletic at the guard spots. Again, the single back offense for the Wolverines. And here's the handoff to the running back off the right side, and good pursuit by that Hoosier defense. Chris Floyd got the carry. Jason Zapp came over to make the stop. On the defensive front for the Indiana Hoosiers, Benyard Jones always has that motor running up front, leads the defensive line of tackles. At the middle linebacker spot, Jabbar Robinson, a highly productive performer. And the cornerback that leads the defensive secondary is Joey Ellims, who up until this week was a two-way performer. Michigan facing third down. Third and about 8. Griese in the shotgun. Griese had some time and gets the pass on the money to the 35-yard line for a first down. Ty Streets makes the reception of the coverage provided by Joey Ellims.
When you get good protection to throw the ball like Griese has, generally you're going to find an open receiver when it's man-to-man coverage. It's tough to stay with these receivers one-on-one. Look at the protection Griese gets. Time to let the play develop. Throws it right before the pressure gets there. Streets does a nice job of going down to catch the ball in his chest.
17-yard gain of the Wolverines. A first down out of their 35-yard line. Just underway and scoreless in this first quarter. Griese again sets up a screen this time. Chris Howard to the outside. Forced out of bounds after a gain of 9 to the 44-yard line. Kywin Supernaw, perhaps the most productive defensive back Indiana has, forced him out of the near side.
Nice call by Mike DeBoer, offensive coordinator. When Indiana is putting pressure on early, this is the second time they blitz. Throw a little screen, slow that pass rush down. Howard does a nice job, gets a good block right there. Gets out close to that first down. That play will help Michigan during this drive and down the road because it'll make Indiana a little more cautious as they come.
The receiver to the top of your screen is Charles Woodson, the All-American cornerback. And Griese looking to go for it all. To Ty Streets, over the shoulder catch made out of bounds. Good coverage provided by Joe King down the sidelines. It'll be a third down and 1 coming up. Not a bad call, Randy, here on this second and short.
It's a wonderful call, especially with the play before being a screen. This time you go back, you know you're going to have a lot of time to throw the ball, and you go for the home run. It was a pretty well-thrown ball, but yet you've got to keep the ball on the field of play. Nice job by King coming over and pushing him out of bounds and closing down that distance.
Third and 1 for Michigan. Floyd, short of a first down. Jabbar Robinson denies Michigan a first down.
Jabbar Robinson, maybe their best defensive player. He's their middle linebacker. He's one of their captains. He's second on this team in tackles. Watch him step up. He reads the play, comes up untouched. And if you're not going to block Jabbar Robinson, you're not going to get a lot of yards. Take a look at his teammates setting this pace defensively now, forcing Michigan to punt. Hopefully for Indiana, their offense should get pretty decent field position.
Walk-on kicker Jason Vinson with the punt. Joey Ellims back deep. Allows this one to hit on the 7-yard line. Takes a Michigan hop by staying in play, and the Wolverines down it inside the Indiana 15. Break of the action, no score in Bloomington. The Indiana Hoosiers have held off the Michigan Wolverines in the early going, denying Michigan a first down on a third down and 1 call. And now the Indiana offense gets its first opportunity of the afternoon. And Jay Rogers, who hit 13 of 22 passes, 203 yards in Wisconsin last week, comes out to lead the attack, a sophomore from Austin, Texas. And Indiana set to go, first down. The football short of the 15-yard line near the 13. Freshman Hogan is the tailback, and they go to Dwayne Hogan. Bumped into his own blocker, but able to slide past the defender, get out across the 15 for a gain of about 4 yards to the 17-yard line. Fairfield in starting lineups, and O.J. Connor, a freshman wide receiver, has become one of the favorite downfield targets of Jay Rogers. On the offensive line, the veteran leadership is provided up front by Chris Lee, a senior. This only his first start. In terms of season starts, he has been starting since the opening of this campaign, but this is his first year as a starter in the Indiana offensive line. Second down for the Hoosiers, about 6 yards to go. That's the tight end in motion. Play action and a deep drop for Rogers. Sets up a screen pass to Chris Gall, the fullback. Gall followed his blockers judiciously and picks up a first down across the 25-yard line near the 28. Rob Arenas pursued from the defensive line, along with Eric Mays, the inside linebacker. And the defensive line for Michigan, Glenn Steele, veteran of the defensive line, just 2 seniors on that defensive front. In the linebacking core, we talked of Sam Sword, very active, All-America candidate, and Marcus Ray runs the defensive secondary for the Wolverines. Gain of 10 on that previous play by Indiana. And the Hoosiers set up with a first down. The football to the 28-yard line of Indiana. Hogan gets the toss and gets hit in the backfield. Sam Sword, who had 14 tackles, a career high in tackles last week against Notre Dame, made the stop. Let's get out to the sidelines. Jim Barber. Jim?
Wayne, earlier you talked about Indiana controlling the ball in this game against Michigan. They also want to control the clock. On many occasions on offense, when the game clock is running, they're going to keep the play clock running under 5 seconds before they pull off a snap. Notre Dame tried it last week, very effective in the first half, limiting Michigan to just 22 snaps in that first half, Wayne.
They really did. They ran right at Michigan. And we've got an injured Wolverine down on the field. And it looks like it's Eric Mays, the senior co-captain from Kalamazoo, Michigan. He is quite a story. Came to the program as a walk-on and is some of the glue that holds this Michigan defense together.
One of only 2 seniors that starts for Michigan on defense. And as you said, Wayne, a walk-on, has made his way up not only to be a starter, but a captain as well. And he was a safety, wasn't finding much playing time as a safety, and went to Jim Herman, the defensive coordinator, and asked if he could play linebacker. So they moved him up to linebacker, and he's had a very good season so far. We take a look here, as watching Mays flow with the play, and where the injury may come in, gets kind of a nick block right there, and sometimes the chip shot blocks, not the solid hits, can lead to those kind of injuries, and looked like he went right through his legs and got banged up.
Looked like he took a helmet on the knee, perhaps. Hopefully not a serious situation. And Mays gets up. Be heading over to the Michigan sidelines in a moment.
Jim Herman, in talking about Mays, it said he's the kind of guy that at the end of practice, when all the other kids want to get back to their dorm and enjoy their time, he's always out there trying to do more things and trying to get better in practice, and almost more of an inspirational leader as you see the Michigan teammates
great
concerned with how he's going to be for the rest of this game and right now.
Well, Mays was helped up, and now he's coming off pretty much under his own power. But boy, it doesn't look like he'll get back for the rest of today. Jim Herman, there he is right there, the defensive coordinator of the Michigan Wolverines. They switched some things around to their coaching staff and this season, and Herman is the defensive coordinator. Michigan's balanced attack this season has helped spearhead that 3-0 start. Take a look at this. What Michigan is looking for is balance in yardage, not necessarily in play calls. Indiana resumes offensively, 2nd and 12 off a loss of 2, and they go to Hogan deep around the edge, and Hogan is cut down. Boy, I tell you, excellent coverage provided on the flank of the defense by Andre Weathers. James Hall also in the vicinity for the Michigan defense. Rob Renas flow to the football as well.
Well, Jim Herman said the best thing about his defense right now is they are playing fundamentally very sound as a unit. Andre Weathers doing a nice job from his cornerback position coming up. There's not a real superstar on that defense other than Woodson. He's the guy everybody knows about. But no one is really stepping up and grabbing the attention. They're playing very well together, and that's why they're so sound.
So a 3rd and 8 call now for Indiana from the Hoosier 30-yard line. Chris Gall in motion. A deep drop again. Rogers hits Gall, but he has no shot at the first down. Excellent coverage by James Hall in the Michigan linebacking corps. It is a 4th down, gain of a yard out to the 31-yard line.
Michigan's defense doing the job shutting Indiana down after that 1 first down, and even though now they have the wind at their back for this punt, always a dangerous threat with Charles Woodson back there to return this punt. Michigan looks to get pretty good field position. Charles
Woodson, who broke the game open between these two teams last year. Setkowski's punt straight on, and Woodson at the 25, dancing by a defender at the 30. Woodson caught from behind as he slipped near the 40-yard line, and Michigan will put it in play. First down. Robinson made the stop on the play. Wolverines get good field position for their 2nd drive of the afternoon. Off the offense on the field, first down to the 40-yard line of the Wolverines. Brian Griese lots of time, swings it out to his running back Chris Howard, and Howard approaches the midfield marker on a gain of 9 yards out to the 49-yard line. Benyard Jones and Joey Elms converge on the tackle for Indiana.
Michigan showing some respect for this Indiana run defense. They've been throwing their first couple of possessions here, even though this is just a swing pass. Griese does a nice job looking downfield, nobody there. Get the ball to Howard. Now he becomes a running back. He finds the holes, he ducks his head, delivers the blow.
And again, what Mike DeBoer, the offensive coordinator at Michigan, told us last night was that Michigan is going to look for balance on first down, run to pass, and that's what they're trying to do here.
Exactly right. They not only want balance in terms of yardage, but they want it in terms of downs also. They feel if they really keep Indiana guessing what they're going to do on first down, that will lead to a lot better success on first down.
Well, the last time Greasy had second down and short, he went deep to Ty Streets. Let's see what he tries here. No score early going in this first quarter. That's Shaw in motion. On the ground to the freshman. Thomas comes up short of the first down. Boy, Indiana has shown great pursuit on the defensive front. Let's go down to Jim Barber on the sidelines. Jim.
All right, Wayne, let's get back to the injury of Eric Mays, a right knee sprain right now. They're going to ice it down and take a look at it at halftime, perhaps do some examination at that point. The one thing we know, he's got some mobility, but he is in a lot of pain, Wayne.
All right, Jim. And hopefully Eric Mays will be back in this ball game for Michigan. A loss of a yard in that play. It is third down. Almost 2 yards to go for Michigan. And again Thomas, and again he draws a crowd, but good strength on the second effort gets him the first down to Hoosier territory at the 49 of Indiana. To Mike Gleason. And Mike, what do you have on that big matchup down south, Florida State, Miami?
Well,
thank you, Mike Gleason. Eric Mays being carted off to the locker room for Michigan. And again, as Jim Barber reported, they'll check out that knee injury. Hopefully he'll be back in the second half. The Wolverine offense with a first down. And Greasy to the air. And the pass appeared to cross up the intended receiver, Charles Woodson. Woodson looking for it on the outside shoulder, Randy. He got it on the inside shoulder.
Well, one thing when you're a defensive back and you come over sporadically to play offense, maybe your routes aren't as precise as a guy that plays it full time, especially on a timing pattern like that. Wide open, Greasy threw the ball on time, threw it to the inside, but as you can see, his coach is telling him, no, don't turn that way. You turn the other way. That's where the ball's going to be.
Second and 10 now. Well, you'll excuse Charles on that one.
I think they'll give him another chance.
Yeah, I think they'll go to him again. Yes, indeed. Motion out of the backfield by Williams, and did Greasy take too much time to get this play called? Penalty flags are down early. Michigan plagued by penalties earlier this season.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense.
John Perry calls a false start, now a delay of game. Michigan had 21 penalties in the first 2 games of this season, and Randy, most of them were on offense, and that was particularly frustrating to the Michigan coaching staff.
And where it really hurts is Michigan has not made a lot of big plays. Their longest run is 27 yards, only 1 run over 16. So when you get a second or third and long, it's harder to get that first down without that ability to get that big play.
Second and 15. Williams again in motion. Greasy rushed right away, sets up a screen pass nicely to Chris Floyd. Floyd into the open field. Chris Floyd still on his feet. Out of bounds near the 10-yard line of Indiana, the biggest play of the game to date. Zapp forced him out in pursuit. Jason Zapp, but the Michigan Wolverines break up big one, 38 yards.
Another screen to try and offset this rush coming by Indiana. You see the lineman come through almost untouched. Greasy does a nice job of holding it under pressure till Floyd turns and is ready to catch the ball. And now he just becomes a running back. He's got linemen in front of him, breaks that tackle, and a rare big play again for Michigan through the air.
So Michigan to the line of scrimmage now with a first down just outside the 10-yard line of Indiana. Anthony Thomas met in the hole by James Lamar with help from Curtis Randall L. and Jabbar Robinson. Very little, if any, gain whatsoever. That was a 43-yard pass play a few moments ago, not a 38-yarder. 43-yard pass play to give Michigan this possession deep inside Indiana territory.
Well, as you get into the red zone down here, you see Michigan's been down there 13 times and have had success on 12 of them, with 10 of them coming to touchdowns. But most of the success today has been through the air. Closer you get to the goal line, harder it is to throw, the more you have to run.
Slot at the top of your screen, offset eye in the backfield. Greasy to the air, to the end zone, had Shaw wide open and overshot him. Had to be some busted coverage back there, Randy. Shaw popped that wide open. But Brian got a little bit too much air into that one, and it floats out of bounds, incomplete.
Michigan had 2 receivers over to the left side there, and they ran what looked like may have been a little pick play. See, pretty good protection. Michigan, seeing this play work successfully against Indiana in the past, This time,
Defensive back fell down.
Defensive back fell down. Ball being thrown out of the end zone. Obviously, he fell down before Griese threw it, or he would have just taken everything off of it and played pitch and catch.
Third down for Michigan. They can get a first down inside the 1. And they vacate the backfield. Everybody out for a pass. Blitz is on. Quick throw. Clarence Williams. And Williams met at the 9-yard line. Curtis Randall L. came quickly on the blitz. But really, when you take a look at it, they picked it up very well in the interior of the defense. A gain of maybe a yard or two, and that was it.
And Wayne, it's hard to run a screen very quickly. You have to let the defense come through. Here, this screen is set up so quickly, you don't let the defense react back into the backfield, and Williams has nowhere to go after he catches the ball.
Adewale Ogunleye, the principal defender on the play. Now the field goal unit is on. Craig Baker for a short field goal, and he gets it through the uprights. Baker on a 27-yard field goal, and the Michigan Wolverines take the early lead on homecoming in Bloomington. Wayne Larrivee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber back in Bloomington on homecoming. A picture postcard afternoon. Jay Feely getting set to kick off for the Michigan Wolverines. Wolverines have just taken a 3-0 lead. A little over 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. Feely's kick squibs. Taken by one of the upbacks across the 25. And pretty good running production. Out across the 25-yard line by Kevin Glazer, fullback. Let's go back to Studio 66 for another update on Florida State, Miami of Florida. Mike Gleason, what do you have for us?
Oh, Wayne.
Thank you very much, Mike Gleason. 9-play scoring drive for the Michigan Wolverines, resulting in the 27-yard field goal by Baker. Covered 51 yards.
Of those 51 yards, 43 of them came on that one screen pass to Floyd. So other than that, Indiana did a nice job of tightening up.
Jay Rogers off play action, hit from behind, able to scamper away, looking to make a play, and does. Hogan stiff-arming his way downfield into Michigan territory with a Wolverine 42-yard line. Tommy Hendricks finally forced him out.
Nice job by two young players. Rogers, the quarterback, and Hogan, the tailback. Rogers fighting off the blitz, standing in the pocket, is strong enough in order to fend this off. Looking downfield, has good protection to begin with. Blind side, doesn't wrap him up, he gets away. Now Hogan, seeing that, doesn't give up on the play. He sees the quarterback roll. That's what you teach your kids from day one of football. When the quarterback rolls, roll with him. Nice job by Hogan.
24-yard pass play to the Michigan 42. Indiana on the drive, and again Rogers off some play action. This time screens it out to Chris Gall. Got a good block from Lee, the center. Gall down the sideline to the Michigan 20-yard line. Hendricks and Ray on the stop. Another first down, Indiana, on a well-executed screen.
Chris Gall, Cam Cameron calls the best all-around player on his team right now. Nice job, little misdirection. You bring Gall underneath the defense. You get lost sometimes when you do that, and then he just picks up excellent blocks. Look at the blocks by these linemen downfield. That's where, as a running back, you're used to following those linemen blocking. Wide receiver doesn't quite do it as well. Nice job by Gall.
Chris Gall, who came into this game with 22 receptions to lead Indiana.
Hadn't caught a pass before this season either.
23-yard pass play there. That's Gall in motion across the Indiana offense, and a fumble, and Michigan's got it. Rogers slipped and fell as he tried to make the handoff, and Michigan recovers.
This is an unforced error Indiana simply can't have. Once you lose your balance as a quarterback, pull the ball back into your stomach. It's a dead play. It's a busted play. Go back on second down. Don't try and force something to happen.
And the scramble.
Michigan being very quick to pounce on that.
Glenn Steele with the recovery, and the Wolverines turn away the Hoosiers. Take a look at what Michigan has done. They've scored 21 points off opponents' turnovers. They start this drive at the 23 of Michigan. And Chris Howard not going very far at all. Tywin Supernaw, who plays very close to the line at strong safety, Randy Wright, made the stop, no gain.
He's been the player that really carries this defense. A free safety has a lot of tackles for a free safety. See him come up here, makes the tackle coming from the outside, does a nice job of reacting, getting in there, wrap those backs up around the legs. They'll break a lot of tackles when you hit them high. Hit them low like that, they don't break that many tackles. He leads the Hoosiers there with 35 tackles. For a free safety, that's a lot.
Michigan on a second down. Greasy trying the slant. And it's incomplete. Ty Streets, the intended receiver. To Studio 66, Mike Gleason.
Oh, Wayne Rutgers.
Thank you, Mike. Well, Michigan facing a third down call here. Third and a little bit more than 10 yards to go. And the Indiana crowd getting behind this Hoosier defense. Greasy. Clarence Williams wrapped up by Jabbar Robinson. Far short of a first down.
The fans appreciate the effort by the defense, and look at the players show that excitement. You think they're not ready to play this game. It starts with pressure. Greasy doesn't get time to look downfield. He has to come off here and throw the ball short. Then he takes the hit right afterwards. So you had good pressure, yet you still had good coverage man-to-man downfield.
Ellums back deep to receive this punt. From Jason Vincent, the snap over his head. Vincent, however, they did not have a rush on, and Vincent able to get the kick away. And it backs up, takes an Indiana hop, and the Wolverines down into the midfield markers. So once again, the Hoosiers get good field position to start a drive, this time in plus territory. They trail the Wolverines by 3. Vincent in punt formation. Now watch what happens on the snap from Jeff Holtry. Up over his head, he's able to field it, but Indiana does not have a rush on, and he's able to get the punt away.
Watch Vincent, he does a nice job. He's got great hands to go up, but watch his head. Right away he looks. There's nobody there. It's okay to go ahead and punt. Good presence of mind.
Back live, Dwayne Hogan on a quick call. Gets very little, if anything. May have lost a half yard to the 50-yard line as the Michigan defense begins to stiffen. Remember last week against Notre Dame, Michigan's defense was put in precarious position after precarious position in the fourth quarter. 3 Michigan fumbles resulted in the defense having to turn away Notre Dame from deep in Michigan territory. This time, Indiana's defense able to stiffen off a turnover by the Hoosier offense. Second down and 10. Hogan around the end, and he gets a couple of yards. To Studio 66, Mike Gleason back to Florida State. What do you got?
Well, when the Seminoles strike again, the Seminoles.
Hey, Mike, since Miami won its opener, it's been a tough sled down there for the Hurricanes. And Florida State is not a team you get healthy on very quickly. Third down and about 8 yards to go now for Indiana. Out of the shotgun, Rogers. Quick throw to the flank. And Marcus Floyd fumbled the football. I believe Indiana got it back. It looked like Chris Lee got it back, unless they ruled that he was down by contact before the fumble. But Indiana far short of that first down. Rob Renus defending from the Michigan defensive line, a gain of a couple of yards. Fourth down.
Get Michigan's defense swarming over there. Just a quick screen again for Indiana, trying to bust a play on the outside. Look at all these Michigan defenders over here. 1, 2, 3. Weathers is coming up. The ball's loose, but after he hits the ground. But on third and long, it's going to be tough when you play that many defenders.
Sutkowski trying to pin Michigan deep. The Hoosiers have it covered well. And it'll be first down from the 12-yard line. One member of the Hoosier kick team should have grabbed it at the 8-yard line. It was down near the 13, and that's where Michigan will start first and 10. Jim Barber, what do you have on Cam Cameron?
Well, Wayne, you mentioned the criticism that Cam had for his football team after the loss in Wisconsin, even though they played well. Well, hundreds of people across the country watching the game here had a chance to call Cam and also send in cards and letters saying, hey, this program looks good. It's coming back. Cam said, wait a minute. We count the progress by victories, not by how we're doing.
All right, Jim, first down now for Michigan, and the football to the 13-yard line. Wolverine territory. They lead 3-0. Chris Howard tripped up, and I believe Damian Gregory got a piece of him in the defensive line. A gain of a yard or two. Time now to take a look at the GTE Academic All-American Team Member Spotlight, as Randy, with plenty of work in that field.
That's a good point.
2nd and 9 now for Michigan. Greasy hit as he throws. Ty Streets is out there with a pass off the mark. They are not afraid to go at Joey Ellums with Ty Streets. Adewale Ogunleye put the pressure on Greasy.
Ty Streets has become Brian Griese's favorite target, but you have to have time to throw, especially when it's a long pattern. You have to have time to let the receiver get down there. And again, Griese taking another shot. We've seen him on his back 2 or 3 times already. We're still in the first quarter.
So it is 3rd and 9 for Michigan at the Wolverine 14. Slot to the top of your screen. Griese looking that way. Lots of time. Got a first down. Russell Shaw running free. Out to the 38-yard line with a first down. Lamar and Coleman team up on the stop along with Ellams.
Boy, Wayne, John Haycock, the defensive coordinator for Indiana, told us, Michigan does not have one great player on offense. They can beat you with a lot of guys. This time, it's Russell Shaw. He's sitting out here wide open. They've had big plays to Floyd. They've had big plays to Howard. They've had big plays to Streets. And this time, Russell Shaw is the guy.
24-yard pass play to Shaw. First down for the Wolverines at the 38-yard line. Michigan territory. Griese again looking to the air. Hits the running back Chris Howard, who's escorted to the chalk marks on the near side at the 42-yard line on a gain of 4 yards. Good pursuit from Benyard Jones and Jabbar Robinson in the Indiana secondary.
That's where you see Brian Griese's experience and his level-headedness at the quarterback position come into play. Nothing open downfield. He gets flushed out of the pocket. He can still pick up a secondary receiver and make it a positive play.
In the final 2 minutes of this first quarter, Michigan on top by 3. Second down for the Wolverines and about 6 yards to go. Griese to Howard. Got a good block off the flank of the offense that time by Chris Zeman. And Howard appears to be very close to that first down. In fact, he's picked it up. Let's go to the studio. Studio 66, Mike Gleason, Penn State and Illinois underway. Thank you, Mike. I was greatly mistaken. It is third down coming up for Michigan. 3rd and about 2 yards to go. Once again, the Hoosier homecoming crowd trying to exhort its defense to make another play. Contact made across the line. It may have been Damian Gregory who came off prematurely. Let's see if he was drawn off sides. It looks like it's going to be first down for Michigan. John Perry is the referee.
Prior to the snap, outside, on the defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Wayne, that's the easiest weapon a quarterback has, to be able to use his voice to pull the defense off sides. That time, got him a first down.
And the football just inside Hoosier territory. Griese out of Miami, Florida, Columbus High School. Chris Floyd following his blocking. And once again, Jabbar Robinson breaking through to make the hit on the play. Agunlia and Lamar assist as well, but it's a gain of almost 5 yards.
Robinson having a big day so far for Indiana's defense. What they want to do is force those Michigan running backs to run inside. They feel they don't have the speed to keep with those guys on the outside. If your linebackers and your defensive end push them back to the middle, that's where your middle linebacker can make the hit. So far, it's not been too bad.
On the other side of the ball, Indiana feels that it has to run right at Michigan because the Hoosiers don't have the speed to get around the end. Second down, and again the handoff to the running back, and Chris Floyd this time is met by a wave of red-flagged Indiana Hoosiers, and he picks up maybe a yard down to the 44, where Michigan will face a third down. And Kywin Supernaw led the charge. Supernaw, the senior, out of Oklahoma.
This guy's a free safety. He's really built more like a strong safety. At 6'1", 210 pounds. He's got the attitude of a strong safety because he's not afraid to stick his head in there.
Michigan 50% on third down calls. 3 of 6. 3rd and about 5. Griese a shorter drop. Got Howard out on the flat. First down and more inside the 35-yard line. James Lamar made the tackle, and it's a first down for the Michigan Wolverines at the 32-yard line of Indiana. 14-yard gain.
When you're having trouble running to the outside, throw it to your backs in the flat. That's just another way to get it out there. Now, it's so hard to tackle a back one-on-one in the open field. Howard makes his man miss, turns it into a nice gain on really what was just a simple little pass play.
Howard 215. The other back they've been handing it to, Randy, is 6'1" and 231, Chris Floyd. So these are a couple of bangers out there.
They're seniors. They've been here before.
First period winds to a close. Brian Griese and the Michigan Wolverines lead after the opening stanza 3-0. Randy Wright, Jim Barber. Michigan leading at the end of one quarter. And the Wolverines are on the drive. They've got a 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line of the Indiana Hoosiers. A warm, sunny afternoon here in central Indiana. Homecoming for the Hoosiers and the Wolverines. Now the Hoosiers in a blitz. Clarence Williams finds a big hole. Kaiwan Supernome makes the tackle across the 20, but it's a gain of 12 yards to the 19 of Indiana.
When you've been running or trying to run to the outside and you catch a team in a blitz, you can sometimes spring a guy right to the middle. Take a look at the block on the right, little trap play, huge hole opening up, and then you see a lineman blocking downfield. John Jansen throws a nice block downfield. That opens it up for Thomas.
This is a big defensive stand now for Indiana, trailing 3-0 here early in the second quarter. Michigan threatening, and on the right side it's Chris Floyd again, running through arm tackles down near the 6-yard line. First down on a gain of 13 yards.
Well, whether you call Howard or Williams or Thomas or Floyd, you could just go down the list. They have so many weapons that can beat you. Take a look at this hole. You run inside, now you get Indiana thinking inside. You run outside, nice cut by Floyd, and a missed tackle by Joe King. You can't afford to miss tackles in the secondary. You may be the last guy between the ball carrier and the goal line.
Zeman and Jansen on the right side of the Michigan offensive line have been opening the holes now on this drive as Michigan faces a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line of Indiana. And Griese, a quick handoff this time to Howard, try to slip him up the middle, and he gets about 3 yards on the play down to the 3-yard line. Lamar, the linebacker, made the stop. We're in Bloomington, Indiana, Memorial Stadium. Michigan leading 3-0 early going second quarter. Wayne Larrivee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber, good to have you with us on this sun-splashed afternoon. Second down and goal to go for the Michigan Wolverines. That is not the biggest offensive line you'll see, but it's one of the most athletic in the country. Howard trying to get around the end. Howard skips over the pylon for the touchdown. Chris Howard, the senior out of River Ridge, Louisiana, puts the first touchdown on the board today. And the Michigan Wolverines lead 9-0.
We talked about Michigan's speed from the backfield around the corner, and this time you're not going to bring him down with an arm tackle, and Howard's got enough speed to get around that corner and into the end zone before he runs out of field, and that's just good, solid speed by a good back.
Baker for the point after. Griese got the hold down, and the kick is good. Michigan extends its advantage on this run by Chris Howard to 10-0 over Indiana. A very efficient Michigan attack motoring to the end zone for the first time this afternoon early in the second quarter. The Wolverines lead 10-0. Jay Feely getting set to kick it away. It's Joey Ellums right there in your screen. One of the deep backs for the Hoosiers. Take a look at the time of possession, heavily in favor of Michigan. This is something that Indiana could ill afford to have happen. This kick booms deep into the end zone. Ellums will stay there with it. Indiana will take over at its 20-yard line.
What's equally as important, Wayne, with that time of possession is Michigan has done something with it. They have finished off their drives by putting points on the board. First the field goal, then the touchdown.
On this particular scoring drive for Michigan, 12 plays, 87 yards to pay dirt. 4 minutes, 31 seconds time of possession. And again, what we have seen for Indiana is they have not been able to get their ground attack on track so far today, Randy.
No, they need to be able to run the ball in order to stay in this game, control the clock a little bit, and give their defense a rest. If they don't do that, their defense is going to be out there all day.
Maxwell in motion. Rogers, Chris Gall in the flat. Woodson made the stop, gain of about 3 yards. And Randy, last week Wisconsin took away the fullback in the passing lanes. This week we're seeing Gall in evidence a little bit more. What is Michigan doing differently than Wisconsin did last week?
Michigan has much better corners, so they let their corners cover the wide receivers, so they vacate the flat. That opens up the backs in the flat. Also, Indiana came in today wanting to throw the ball to their backs a little more because they felt they were going to have 3 options. First read, second read, throw it away. You're not going to see Jay Rogers back there and look all over the field.
Gall in motion, and Rogers again to the air. Penalty marker is down, and the pass incomplete. Randy Maxwell, the intended receiver, could not quite hang on, and the coverage provided by Weathers, Andre Weathers, in the secondary of the Michigan Wolverines. Illegal procedure, the preliminary indication against the Indiana Hoosiers. False start, to be exact. To get inside the huddle of your favorite Big Ten team, go online at www.big10.org for all the football and conference news from around the Big Ten.
Illegal formation on the offense. Penalty is refused. 3rd down.
So 3rd down for Indiana. 3rd and about 8.
That is not Indiana's best position. 3rd and 8. I believe they're 1 for 30 when they have 3rd down and 8 yards or more to go. Not a very high success rate. Don't make a lot of first downs.
Indiana with a cluster to the bottom of your screen. And out of that cluster, Gall in motion. Rogers under pressure. Rogers wrapped up and sacked back near the 10-yard line. Joaquin Feazell, the defensive end out of Fort Valley, Georgia, makes the sack and loss of yardage back to the 11.
Michigan is not a big pressure team. They only had 3 sacks coming into this game, and you see Feazell there just whip his man and comes around and wraps up Rogers so as not to let him get away. Indiana's got 5 men blocking on 3, and Feazell splits them, comes back and gets a big sack.
Sutkowski in punt formation. Right on to Woodson, who fields it at the 46 of Indiana, and look out. Woodson inside the 30-yard line to the 27, and Michigan in a position to strike once again deep in Hoosier territory. 10-0 Michigan with 11:58 to go, first half. Last we talked just a few seconds ago, Michigan was about to take over the football at the Indiana 27-yard line, but a holding call early on that return out of the 46-yard line of Indiana and back them up 10 yards from there off the holding penalty against Michigan. A 29-yard penalty means the Wolverines, instead of starting in plus territory, begin this drive back at their 44-yard line. Still not what you would call bad field position, but when you consider what it could have been.
Could have been better, but this isn't bad, as you said.
First down to the 44. Clarence Williams, the lone setback, and he gets the call to the flank. There's that Michigan speed we talked about, a gain of about 10 yards into Hoosier territory to the 46-yard line. Robinson, King, and Supernaw, trio, collaborate on the tackle.
What this speed does also, Wayne, is when you get to the corner so quickly, you go one-on-one with the defensive backs. You don't even give the linebackers a chance to slow you down. And when you let a back get his momentum going for that long a period of time, it's just so hard to bring him down one-on-one.
Clarence Williams, who was the starter, a junior out of Detroit, Michigan. Last year he was a starter. Gained over 800 yards rushing. And sharing time now with Chris Howard and Anthony Thomas, a true freshman running back who's seen some action here today. Greasy calls for a timeout here. Apparently, by the time Michigan got the play in, Brian didn't have enough time to call it at the line. So rather than take the penalty, he takes the timeout. 11:29 to go, first half. Michigan by 10. Wayne Larrivee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber back in Bloomington, Indiana, Michigan at the 46 of the Hoosiers on a first down. Greasy screens it out. Chris Howard, well set up play, and Howard down to the 35-yard line on a gain of about 11 yards. James Lamar made the stop. Back to Studio 66, Mike Gleason.
Well, Wayne, Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Mike. That Pittsburgh program developing a little bit this season. First down for the Michigan Wolverines from the 35-yard line, Hoosier territory. Floyd broke the tackle attempt by James Lamar. and picks up about 3 yards.
When Cam Cameron told us yesterday that when you find a play that works, you can stick with it in the college game 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 times. In the pro game, you can't do that. You take a look at total yards. Most of those yards have come on one play, the screen play. That's what's worked so well for Michigan. They're sticking with it until Indiana shows they can stop them. Of the 188 yards, and over half of them come on the little screen dump they've used.
And obviously, screen plays are all quarterback for the most part, aren't they, Randy? The timing and everything else?
Everything's all quarterback.
Well, I expect that. That's what I expect from you. Here's Greasy back to throw, and the pass knocked down, incomplete. Knocked down at the line. Ogunleye, I believe, was the man who got a hand on it and knocked it away. 3rd down coming up now for Michigan. Let's see if we can pick it up again, Randy, at the line.
Take a look at the right side of your screen. Ogunleye coming through, gets good penetration. Then, as every lineman is taught, get your hands up. If you can't get to the quarterback, pushes the back, Floyd away from him, number 7. If you can't get to the quarterback, get your arms up. Try, and if you don't knock the ball down, at least get in the vision of where the quarterback's looking.
Michigan's leading 10-0. 10:20 to go, first half. 3rd down for the Wolverines. 3rd and about 6, and Greasy another screen pass to Howard. Howard able to beat McGrath around the corner for a first down to the 23-yard line of Indiana.
Good job of recognition by Howard and Greasy. Indiana, watch the right side. They're bringing more men than Indiana can block. The quarterback sees that. The Michigan can block. The quarterback sees that. The running back sees that. The running back goes hot. He knows he's getting the ball right away. Greasy got it out to him. Then there's plenty of room to pick up the first down.
Randy, that's some pretty good speed that got Howard around that end, wasn't it?
That's a surprise. Michigan's back has some good speed.
A little counter play. And Clarence Williams gets the call for some tough yards down to the 20-yard line, gain of about 3. And the mid portion of that Indiana defense was there to stop him. Benyard Jones, we talked to him earlier today. James Lamar has been active as well, number 18 in that Hoosier defense.
Well, what you see with Michigan also, Wayne, is you've called Williams and Thomas and Howard. They're mixing in their backs, so they're staying fresh. It's the same Indiana defense. Like you said, Robinson, Lamar, Supernall, those are the same guys. You question how long they're going to be able to chase before they get tired.
Streets and Marcus Knight to the top of your screen, but they're keeping it on the ground, and why not? Jabbar Robinson makes the stop, and the running back, the freshman, Anthony Thomas, 6'2" and 229, the biggest of the tailbacks from Michigan, and they are very high on this true freshman from Winfield, Louisiana.
Boy, he's got fullback size and tailback speed, and they think he's got pretty good hands, so he's going to be involved in the passing game. They're going to work him in slowly. When you've got experienced players ahead of him, no need to force him in there, but he could be a good one.
Well, another 3rd down for Michigan, 3rd and about 5, and the Wolverines are 5 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. Greasy may have drawn Indiana offsides, and the pass is complete. Streets for the touchdown. Penalty marker down on the far side, but I believe this is going to hold up. It looked like
Offside on the defense. Refused. Touchdown.
that was the case.
This shows you the experience of this Michigan team. When you get a free play, the other team's offsides, you see they jump with Greasy's cadence. Go ahead and play. You've got a free play. Go for it. Don't give up. Here they throw the pass, and Streets makes a nice move there to get into the end zone.
He had to thread the needle on that throw. Joey Ellums was right there. And the extra point is good by Craig Baker. So Michigan extends its advantage to 17-0. And let's head back to Studio 66 and Mike Gleason. Mike?
Oh, Wayne.
Thank you, Mike. We'll take another look at the touchdown pass thrown by Brian Greasy to Ty Streets.
But he gets good protection to throw, and as you said, he just threads the needle, and Streets does a nice job. As soon as he catches that ball, turn and go north and south.
Well, let me ask you, if he knows he's got offsides, he knows he's got a free play, does he throw that pass if he doesn't have Indiana offsides?
Well, I think you still go ahead and throw it because I think he felt confident enough to get it in there. But that's the play that's called. The other thing as a quarterback is you don't always know if one of your backs moved and the penalty is going to be against you because you can't see behind you.
Today's Big Ten game brought to you by GTE, official telecommunications consultant of the NCAA and the Big Ten corporate partner. And another deep kickoff by Jay Feely through the end zone. So the Hoosiers will take over at their 20-yard line. Jim Barber's got a special guest with him. Jim?
Okay. People know that you attend a lot of basketball games, also a lot of football. Of course, you have the Mellencamp Pavilion here, so you put your money behind your faith here with the Indiana football program.
Well, you know, it's they came to me and they needed it, and it seemed like a nice thing to do, so I did it.
All right, John, anything you'd like to shamelessly plug at this point in terms of your music?
No, I don't do that, but I would say that don't give up on the Hoosiers yet. This is Cam's first season.
All right, very good. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
John Mellencamp with us. Let's go back to Wayne and Randy.
Dwayne Hogan rips off an 11-yard run. Tommy Hendricks makes the stop.
Nice cutback by Hogan that time, designed to go to the right. Does a nice cutback and then a nice move. Finally, some positive yardage for Indiana on the ground. They've been very poor running the ball. They need to get that going, not only to move the ball offensively, but also to keep their defense off the field.
Mellencamp Pavilion, and just as John Mellencamp said, keep the faith. The freshman Hogan rips off 11 yards to a first down, and he gets the call again, and this time runs into stiff resistance in that Michigan defense. Sam Sword, among others, in on that stop for the Wolverines, gain of barely a yard. Dhani Jones was also there for Michigan.
Wayne, I got to tell you, I have a hard time envisioning John Mellencamp playing football on the beach. Just strike me as a football type.
I was marveling over the venue, Hilton Head, South Carolina, playing a little pickup football game. That's where that friendship was born. All right. Second down. They're going to mark it as very little or no gain on that play. From the 32. And Rogers sets up the screen, and the freshman dropped it. Hogan could not hang on. So Indiana facing a third down and 10.
As well as Hogan runs the ball, he doesn't have quite the impact in the passing game. Indiana likes to throw the ball to their backs. Chris Gall's their leading receiver, and Jason Spears their second leading receiver. But since Hogan's been playing, they really haven't had as many opportunities to throw the ball there. Doesn't quite have as good a hands.
Indiana third down, 10 yards to go. O.J. Connors at the top of your screen. Rogers over the middle. Got the tight end, Randy Maxwell. And Maxwell cut down just short of the first down. Textbook tackle made by Dhani Jones. Gain of 9. And from the 41, Indiana facing a fourth and short.
Well, as you said, just a textbook tackle. This play looked like it was going to go for the first down. Maxwell catches it. This is going to set up a fourth down here, and Indiana going to go for it on fourth and short.
Indiana, fourth downs, well, 4 of 12. Here's the handoff to the running back and getting the call off the left side. I believe that was Jason Spear, and he is very close to the first down. Or make that Hogan on the carry, not Spear, but Hogan. And Michigan says they stopped him. James Hall got there quickly for the Wolverines. Did he get there quick enough? Apparently he did. No gain, and at the 41-yard line of Indiana, Michigan will take over.
Take a look at this replay again. The offensive line has just got to come off the ball, and Michigan does a nice job of stuffing it. And that ball looked like it was fumbled because Hogan reaches back for it, and where the spot is at the 41-yard line, I believe Hogan fumbled that ball, and that's why they didn't make the first down.
So Michigan takes over, leading 17-0. Chris Floyd in that offensive backfield with Clarence Williams and Brian Griese at the controls. Griese looking downfield and over the middle, and he's got Jeremy Tooman for a gain of about 8 yards. Chris over to make the stop on that play is Robinson.
You just have to like Brian Griese as a quarterback. He's just like a doctor that can dissect you apart. He just throws it very accurately. Perfect spot for Tooman to get the ball. Pretty good coverage that time. Griese just puts the ball right where it needs to go.
Little linebacker had the coverage on that play. Second down, and it's about 2 yards to go. Tripped up in the backfield was Chris Floyd. He got back to the line of scrimmage and no farther, so third down coming up for Michigan.
Key third down, only it's 3rd and 3. Nice position to be in from an offensive point of view where you can run, you can throw the short pass. Whereas Indiana's defense now needs to come with some pressure. They need to get a positive play, force a turnover, or at least force Michigan to punt.
Greg Baker getting loosened up in case he's called upon in a moment. Slot at the top of your screen. Michigan keeps it on the ground. Howard breaks through. Got the first down to the 29-yard line of Indiana. And a good read by Chris Howard off the left side of that line as they stretched it out. Tooman, the tight end, with a key block on this play.
Take a look, number 80 in white. Jeremy Tooman does a nice job, makes contact, opens the hole, pushes the guy to the inside. And now as you see Howard come through here, he is so quick, you just don't get solid hits on him. Take a look at it again. Watch the little move right there, just enough to make Robinson miss.
So on first down, a quick hitter. Chris Floyd bumped into his own man. Hutchinson, the offensive lineman. Floyd able to bounce off and pick up maybe a yard down to the 28-yard line. Second down coming up for Michigan.
Talked about Tooman being involved in the passing game, averaging over 23 yards of reception, which leads the Wolverines. But you just saw there, when you're a tight end and you play for Michigan, you better be able to block also.
Michigan has been solid here today. They were a little concerned last week with their fourth quarter performance offensively, to say the least, with the 3 turnovers in Michigan territory. Now Greasy. The pass play broken up, penalty marker down. O.J. Spencer, the coverage on Ty Streets. He was literally in his shirt at the 23-yard line, and the penalty marker throw. Pass interference, the call against the Hoosiers.
Pretty good coverage to begin with that time.
John Perry will explain the call.
Pass interference on the defense. Place the ball just out of the foul. First down.
Looked like pretty good coverage, and see if this ball's thrown a little bit behind Streets, and as he turns back to stop for it is where O.J. Spencer runs into him and brings the interference call.
Another look at it. And you're right, that pass just a little bit thrown to the back hip. And that precipitated the collision from the defender and the penalty flag. First down now for Michigan at the 22-yard line. Just inside the 22. Greasy trying to get a little crossover screen on the far side, Randy. That's a tough throw. And a precision throw in heavy traffic. Ty Streets, the intended receiver. Coming up on the National Car Rental Halftime Report, brought to you by National Car Rental. So what are you waiting for? Well, let's go. Big Ten highlights, Penn State at Illinois, Iowa at Ohio State. Preview on ABC coming up later today. National Notebook on today's big matchups around the nation. All just ahead of the National Car Rental Halftime Report with Mike Gleason. 2nd and 10 for Michigan. And Greasy. Could have been a flag there. Robinson, and yes, indeed, a late flag on the play. Robinson wrapping up the tight end, Tooman, near the 15-yard line. And I believe they're going to get another pass interference call against Indiana.
Take a look at this again. It's coming right at you here. Just the same quick little out route thrown to Greasy's left. Robinson looked like he had that right arm grabbed around Tooman, spun him around so that he couldn't release and go after the ball. Pretty good coverage there, though, for the most part, other than that.
Cam Cameron's defense getting worn down here in this first half by a very efficient Michigan offense. First down for the Wolverines at the 15 of Indiana. Thomas. Touchdown. Second touchdown for the true freshman out of Winfield, Louisiana. His second touchdown of the season. 14-yard touchdown run, and Michigan extends its advantage to 23-0.
Take a look at the block on the outside. You can't have a successful running game to the outside without good blocking. Take a look at 35 Jackson, who just gets in front of King, shields him off, and then blocks him all the way back into the end zone. That's what allows Thomas to go in untouched.
Hutchinson on the flank made the first block at the line of scrimmage. Hutchinson, the guard. Greg Baker's extra point is good. Michigan leading 24-0.
Here's the blocking at the line of scrimmage. That opens the hole, and then you see the downfield block right there by Jackson. Just doing a nice job on defensive back.
So Michigan opens up the advantage to 24 points here this first half. Don't forget, coming up next Saturday, the Big Ten will be running wild. Well, they've got a rough one today, Penn State.
I tell you, it's getting to be where they're all rough. With the balance that this conference has, and as deep as it is, they're all good games.
Jay Feely's kickoff carries toward the near side. Marcus Floyd lets it float through the end zone. First down, Indiana at the Hoosier 20-yard line. We're in Bloomington, Indiana. It's homecoming weekend on a picture postcard afternoon. Big Ten football, Wayne Larrivee along with Randy Wright and Jim Barber. And the Michigan Wolverines have piled up a 24-0 lead with just under 5 minutes to go in this first half.
Indiana's offense is not going to get all this back in one play. They need to just have some positive plays. They need to stay within the system, execute the plays that are called, start with some first downs, then put a drive together, then try and get the ball into the end zone. But offensively, they have just absolutely got to get something going.
And Randy, I'm a little surprised they haven't invested more play calls in the running game. They've been more pass dominated, it appears, here today. And off play action, back to throw, and under pressure, Rodgers nowhere to go. Good penetration. Josh Williams in on that play. Rob Renus and Glenn Steele, a trio, collaborate on the sack. Back inside the 15 to the 14-yard line, a loss of 6. Phillips Petroleum, maker of super clean gasolines and Trop Arctic motor oil, is a proud sponsor of Big Ten football. Team up with Phillips 66 this fall to ensure your car runs at its best. Phillips 66, the performance company. Second down and 16 for Indiana. Browning, the freshman receiver, in motion. Rodgers screens it out, and he's got O.J. Connor. Connor picks up yardage to the 24-yard line. Sam Sword makes the stop. Clint Copenhaver was also in on that stop.
Nice play by Rodgers to not try and get all the yardage back on one play. It's only second down. Take half of it. Good job by Connor coming across the middle, catches the ball, and then right here, he turns upfield. He knows he's not going to get anything going around Copenhaver. Turn it upfield, get as much as you can.
Indiana, third downs and 4 or more. They're 12 of 18. And back to throw now. Rodgers over the middle, got a man open. Browning. Nice move out across the 35. Withers cuts him down, but it's a Hoosier first down, and the first time they've been able to convert on third downs.
Oh, I think we're going to have a holding penalty in the backfield that's going to wipe this out. But again, the same play Indiana just ran a minute ago, this time coming to the other side to the other receiver. I think we saw Victor Alate in the backfield, or Craig Robine with the hold. Nice job by Browning coming across, catching the ball. Then you see Hogan doing a nice job downfield trying to pick somebody up to block.
See if we can pick up the hold there at the bottom of your screen, number 78. That's holding on James Hall. Robine the guilty party, and that wipes out that play.
Holding on the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Replay third down.
Replay third down and back him up inside the 10-yard line to the 8.
Well, if we've seen pressure from Michigan's pass rush so far, you're really going to see it on this play. And if you're Jay Rodgers, you need to know that. Don't do something foolish. Don't try and force something. Just take what that defense gives you.
Third and about 22. Browning again in motion. Rodgers to his goal line. Intercepted by Woodson. Charles Woodson with the interception of the 9-yard line. And that's exactly what he didn't want to do, Randy. Exactly what you warned him. Woodson on the interception, and Michigan takes over inside the 15-yard line.
Well, when you're down 24-0 and you're a young quarterback, you think you have to do it all yourself. Here he just simply forces the ball into good coverage, and Woodson jumps up, almost acts like the receiver, does a nice job of getting right in front of him and catches that ball.
So Michigan starts this drive inside the 15-yard line, already leading 24-0 as we near the final 3 minutes of this first half. Working a tackle or two is Thomas, and Anthony Thomas picks up a couple of yards down near the 16-yard line.
Take a look at Supernaw almost going out there with a little bang up. As you can see, a couple of good hits. Robinson with a nice hit, doesn't wrap him up, and then Supernaw come and really delivers the blow.
Kind of rung the bell of the freshman.
He wasn't sure he was going to go out, then he's going to stay in, and now he's going out again to maybe catch his breath for a minute.
So it is second down for the Michigan Wolverines and about 8 yards to go. A little bit more than 7. Back to throw, Gracie. McCall in the flat, breaks one tackle attempt and reaches for the first down inside the 3-yard line. Patrick McCall getting the swing pass. Listen to this on the previous play. You heard a couple of cracks there, didn't you? One when Robinson delivered and the other one from Supernaw.
Maybe they're two best hitters on the team. That's what their coaches tell us, and you can see why.
Now Michigan inside the 3-yard line on 1st and goal, and McCall again, big hole to the end zone for the touchdown. Patrick McCall puts Michigan on top 30-0 in this first half.
Michigan again taking advantage of their speed and running to the outside. They've got Indiana back on their heels. They've just been coming off the ball very effectively this entire first half. And Indiana's defense, which has been on the field, most of it is just getting worn down and just getting tired.
McCall, another true freshman out of Carson, California. Baker's extra point is good. Michigan's lead is immense, 31-0 over the Indiana Hoosiers. Back to Studio 66, Mike Leeson.
Oh, Wayne, Michigan.
Michigan State, for real, to say the least. They are one of the top 5 teams in the Big Ten Conference. There is no doubt about that. Take a look at the last play.
Take a look at the offensive line. Just come off the ball here. Little trap play. Nice job by the tight end to open up that hole, and McCall hits it going full speed. And when you make contact, you're going to fall forward.
So Michigan up big here this first half. 3 plays, 14 yards. That coming following the interception by Charles Woodson that gave Michigan possession inside the 15-yard line of Indiana. Kickoff return hasn't been much of a factor in this ball game, with Jay Feely booming him out of the end zone. And this one no exception. Indiana will put it in play from the 20-yard line. And Randy Wright, when you're in this situation, if you're Cam Cameron, what do you do now? What is your approach now?
Well, he's got a lot of games to play the rest of this year, and he's got a very young team. Coming into this season, he only had a couple of players that had ever played on offense and started before, only a total of 35 games, so he needs to start developing some consistency on that offense. You forget about the score. You want to execute, you want to block, you want to run, you want to catch. You tell your team, act like it's 0-0, go out there, let's run our offense, and let's start getting some positive things to happen.
Jay Rogers, the sophomore quarterback, and again, it appears, Randy, just looking at this game, that Indiana has been more pass dominated than run calls here in this first half of play. It'll be interesting to see what the statistics at halftime show us. And Hogan's going nowhere. Glenn Steele, the veteran defensive end, wraps him up. No gain, may have lost a half yard.
One thing Cam Cameron has told us in the past is he is not going to play this game to keep it close. He's going to do what he thinks he has to do.
Michigan has pinned its opponent deep. 9 of 21 kickoffs and 12 of 16 punts this season. Kicking game is a big factor, you know, in talking to Indiana coach John Haycock, the defensive coordinator. He was mentioning what are some of the key factors in a great defense. He talked first to ball control offense, no turnovers, and the kicking game, especially net punting. Field position so important in good defense. Well, they had it covered on the far side, and then Glenn Steele puts away Jay Rogers as he waited for a receiver to open. So back inside the 15, Josh Williams, I should say, on that stop.
Take a look at Steele coming from the right side of your screen. Rogers, by time he feels his presence, he has no chance to do anything but just tuck that ball and protect against the fumble. But Steele just beats his offensive lineman. You're up 31-0. And still celebrating as much as they can.
The sack, and 3rd down and long now for Indiana. Back at the 13-yard line of the Hoosiers. And they give it to Hogan. Hogan made a couple of people miss. Picks up just a few yards out across the 15-yard line as time winds down in this first half of play. Hogan on the carry.
Indiana needs to get in the locker room and rehuddle, Wayne. Just what we talked about a few minutes ago. Just have your team calm down and come out and try and execute your plays.
Alan Sutkowski on punt formation. And Russell Shaw heading back deep to receive this one. But he's not going to get a chance to as the clock winds down and the first half comes to a close. So on a beautiful day in central Indiana, we see the best of Michigan offensive efficiency as the Wolverines lead big at halftime. Let's get out of Jim Barber.
Thank you, Wayne. A very important
Plays offensively, and it is set up.
Take a look at some of the numbers in the first half of this ball game.
Steps out right off the bat is the rushing yards for Indiana, -6. They needed to come in and run the football. -6, that's not going to get it done.
All right, and again, as you take a look at the time of possession, heavily in favor of Michigan. They had no turnovers in the first half of play, despite holding possession for 17 minutes and 40 seconds. So the Wolverines got done what they needed to and felt they had to do here today.
Absolutely. 46 plays to 25 plays. That's real dominance.
We're underway in the second half. And the Hoosiers will take it out of the 20-yard line. First half leaders. Take a look at it. Hogan 10 carries, just 22 yards rushing after the big day at Wisconsin last week. And Michigan, pretty good balance in their attack. And Greasy, a decent day throwing the football, hitting 14 of 22 in that first half.
When both running backs, for one for Indiana, one for Michigan, are your leading receivers, it tells you where the quarterbacks are going with the ball.
And a first down for the Indiana Hoosiers. Football just at the 20-yard line. Rogers, the swing pass out into the flat, and he's got Gall across the 25 out to the 27-yard line, where he's got a gain of about 8 yards. So Chris Gall, who figures prominently in the Indiana passing attack out of the backfield. Indiana, its first half possessions.
Boy, Wayne, you take a look at that. 4 plays, 3 plays, 3 plays, 3 plays. Not many first downs at all. Of course, the fumble in there, but when you don't get anything going and you're 3 and out, that tells you why Michigan had so much success offensively. Indiana's defense just got worn down.
Second down at about 2 yards to go for Indiana as we get underway in the second half here at Bloomington. Rogers missed his first man and gets it out to the tight end for a first down. Randy Maxwell, sophomore from Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Sam Sword makes the stop, first down for the Hoosiers at the 33-yard line of Indiana.
Nice job by Jay Rogers looking downfield. Nothing there. He comes back off of his primary receiver, throws a nice ball to Maxwell, not trying to get 15, 20, 25 yards on each pass play. That's unrealistic. Just take the shorter stuff, try and get into a rhythm.
And Randy, I think you're right. What they'll try to do is run the elements of their offense and try to really use this second half to do some execution here, to execute a few plays. And here's another one. We expected the tight end to play a fairly prominent role, and Randy Maxwell catches another pass. This one out near the 40-yard line. A gain of almost 8 yards. Marcus Ray, the safety, made the stop for Michigan. We expected to see the tight end more in the passing game. We didn't see it in the first half, but we see it in the first couple of plays of the second half.
Well, when you've got Charles Woodson and Andre Weathers, the 2 cornerbacks, they do a pretty good job at taking the outside away from it. You're going to have to attack the middle with your tight end and with your running backs.
Second down and about 2 yards to go. And now they get Hogan. Hogan turned back at about the 41-yard line, gain of barely a yard. The lack of production in the Indiana ground game in the first half underscored the fact that really they only called 10 running plays to Hogan, who was coming off a huge afternoon up in Wisconsin a week ago. Hogan carried 34 times for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns at Madison, Wisconsin last week. Third down.
Haven't been many holes today, though, for Hogan to run through.
Indiana 0 for 7 on third down conversions, but it's 3rd and 1. Little play action, and the pass thrown away. Gall, the intended receiver, well covered by Ray. And Jim Barber, what do you have on the checkup of the Michigan linebacker Eric Mays?
Well, Wayne, it is the problem with the left knee. It is a significant sprain, and this time the Michigan team doctors say they have scheduled an MRI tomorrow in Ann Arbor. Obviously, he will not return today for the rest of the second half.
Hopefully that MRI will be negative when they get the test back tomorrow, and Eric Mays will be back in action before this season is out. 4th down, Indiana going for it again, and maybe a procedure problem against the Hoosiers. Either that or someone from Michigan jumped off sides, and Rob Arenas came across and made contact. And let's see. Apparently this one's going against Michigan.
Prior to the snap, offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
See if we can see if the nose guard jumps off here.
Take a look at Rogers and see if he gets them to jump off with his voice. It looked like there wasn't any movement, no head bob or anything, but I think with the couple of linemen for Michigan moving, listening to the cadence that time, jumping when the ball wasn't being snapped. Nice job by Rogers doing what Greasy has been effective with earlier today.
It's really an art form, isn't it? The cadence and drawing a defense off sides as you switch up your calls. Rogers trying to make a play, able to get it away. And Michigan again brings pretty good pressure with its front. That time James Hall in on the quarterback. Rob Arenas was also pushing the pocket.
Take a look. Michigan this time coming with some linebackers up through. Hall comes through untouched. Rogers does a nice job of just stepping to the side to avoid him and giving himself an alley to throw that ball away.
Hall is the rush linebacker. In many defenses he'd be called a defensive end, but he's listed as a linebacker for the Wolverines. 2nd and 10 now for Indiana. The football across their 45. And again the short drop and the slant to the freshman O.J. Connor. Connor to the Michigan 46-yard line. O.J. Connor on a gain of about 8 yards. Andre Weathers made the stop.
It doesn't take a lot when you haven't been very successful to get your confidence back. These are just the quick 2-3 step drops. Throw some things. When you haven't had a lot of success, now you have a couple of completed passes. Now when you have a couple of good things, your confidence will go.
O.J. Connor came into this afternoon's game with 13 receptions. Browning, another freshman in motion. And Hogan gets the call and close to the first down just inside the 45-yard line. Turned back by Tommy Hendricks in that Michigan defense.
This is a good example, Wayne, of what Cam Cameron has told us. You can have all the innovation and all the magical things in the world, but football really comes down to the blocking and the tackling and the catching and the running. And whatever you come up with, you still have to execute. And that's what he's trying to instill the second half today, is execute the plays.
Another 4th down call for Indiana. This time 4th and about 1. Inside the Michigan 45. Double tights on the line. Rogers had Gall open underneath the coverage of Weathers and would have had a first down. The pass a little too tall for the fullback. Cameron not happy with that throw at all, apparently. So the Michigan offense will head back onto the field, and Indiana's defense, which was worn down in that first half of play, returns for the first time here in the second half. 11:06 to go, 3rd quarter in Indiana, Michigan Beacon. Randy Wright, Jim Barber back in Bloomington, Indiana. Michigan takes over, 1st down, just short of its 45, and Brian Greasy at quarterback. It's the pass out to Charles Woodson. Woodson cut down from behind by Damian Gregory, but a first down for the Michigan Wolverines into Hoosier territory just outside the 35.
I told you they'd go back and give Woodson another chance. This time runs a nice route. Good protection for Greasy, and just because they're ahead 31-0, they're not going to get out of the rhythm of their offense either. Nice pass right to Woodson. Does a good job coming back to the ball. Then he's always a threat whenever you get him in the open field with his hands on the ball.
Gain of 20 yards, and the Wolverines to the 35 of Indiana. And the handoff to the running back, and that's Chris Floyd running hard off the flank of the offense. Kywin Supernaw got kicked in the stomach as he made the tackle on that play. Boy, these Michigan backs are rugged.
One thing we talked about with Indiana is they will always play hard. You're down 31-0. That defensive line, Zapp there coming from his linebacker position, plays like a defensive lineman, continuing to come hard, and we've seen Greasy take a few hits today.
That indeed, but Greasy has made the plays too, hasn't he?
He has stood in the pocket, thrown the ball knowing he's going to get hit, taking the hit, but more times than not, it's been a pretty accurate pass.
Greasy on second down. There's the screen. Howard on the wing. Howard to the 20-yard line of the first down. Make it the 19 is where they'll spot it, and that's a gain of about 13 yards.
This is a play Indiana ought to become fairly familiar with because Michigan has run it a lot today. A screen again being set up by the quarterback and the running back. The running back has to let the line go by him, then he can turn. Then he does a nice job of just catching it and running to the open field.
When you see and you take a look at Greasy's numbers, I mean, this guy is an exceptionally accurate quarterback. This season hitting almost 70% of his passes. First down. This one was tipped, it appeared, and it's up for grabs, and Supernaw almost intercepted it at the goal line. Penalty marker down. Greasy appeared to get hit, Randy, as he let that one go.
I think you're right. He had somebody right in his face, and I think he got his arm hit.
This flag, there was no foul.
So they pick up the flag.
One thing, Wayne, that's been a little misleading is Michigan has thrown a lot to their backs. We saw Greasy's statistics as you see him taking the hit right there to the arm. 69% completion. They throw most of the time downfield, so that completion percentage is really a pretty solid when you look at the amount of times they do throw the ball downfield.
That's Chris Howard out at the top of your screen. And they've got a slot to the bottom. Chris Floyd going wide. Michigan able to get to the outside here today, Randy, and that's certainly a testament to their speed they have.
Well, they knew coming in, as we go back, look at Brian Greasy there this year, almost 69% ahead of some pretty good quarterbacks. Todd Collins, Jim Harbaugh, Elvis Gerbach. Hard to believe Michigan's got 3 quarterbacks starting in the NFL these days.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be Harbaugh was really the first Michigan quarterback that got a shot to play a lot
And
in the NFL.
He really changed the perception of the Michigan quarterback, I think.
Third down now for the Wolverines. Third and about 8. Greasy in the shotgun. Blitz is on. Greasy hit as he throws the end zone off the hands of Aaron Shea, the tight end out of Ottawa, Illinois.
You see Greasy getting up there. Boy, did he take a shot that time. Stood in the pocket and delivered a beautiful pass just over the outreached hands of Aaron Shea. Take a look at this. He sees it coming. He stands in there, takes the hit. That was a beautifully thrown pass.
I believe that was Jabbar Robinson who racked him up. Now a field goal attempt coming up for Craig Baker. This will be a 35-yard field goal attempt. Out of the hold of Brian Greasy. John Jansen with the snap. Everything is clean and the kick is away. It is good. 9:41 to go. Third quarter. Michigan tacks 3 more onto its lead. It's 34-0 Wolverines. Back in Bloomington, Indiana. Michigan impressive thus far. 34-0 over Indiana. And Jay Feely set to resume the game. And he hasn't had a kickoff return yet today. That mark stays intact. My goodness. Studio 66, Mike Gleason, got news from Michigan State?
That's right, Wayne. The Spartans are starting to light it up. Todd Schultz.
Well, it's homecoming up at East Lansing, and Michigan State is rolling, so you know the folks will be having a good time up there tonight. And he hasn't had a kickoff return yet today. That mark stays intact. My goodness. Studio 66, Mike Gleason, got news from Michigan State?
That's right, Wayne. The Spartans are starting to light it up. Todd Schultz.
Well, it's homecoming up at East Lansing, and Michigan State is rolling, so you know the folks will be having a good time up there tonight. Meanwhile, it's homecoming here at Indiana, but the Hoosier fans haven't had much to cheer about. The corner of Memorial Stadium, where the Michigan fans are, has been very active, however, as the Wolverines have piled up a big lead. Chris Gall in motion across the offense. And coming back for it through the hands of O.J. Connor as Jay Rogers delivered the pass, and Connor points to himself, says, hey, that was my fault. I should have had that one.
Yeah, that was a catchable ball. You know, Wayne, there are still some things that Cam Cameron and Indiana can get out of this game. You're down 34-0. He knows what he's got. He knows where his team needs to go, and he will always look at the positive side of it. First of all, he wants to see if his team quits or not. He has told us that his team has played hard every game in every position. He wants to make sure on both sides of the ball they continue to do that. Also, he likes the pressure that his team gets put under and the expectations being raised. He wants them to perform no matter what the score is.
Out of the eye. And again, Rogers off play action. He's got Gall. He fumbles the football and out of bounds before Michigan can retain possession. Or hang on. They're going to bring it back to the spot where it was fumbled, because it was fumbled forward and no one had possession as it carried out of bounds. So it'll be Indiana football to the 25 off a gain of 5.
This is the kind of thing that will upset Cam Cameron more than anything else. You keep your focus, you keep your concentration, you play the game like it's 0-0. Those kinds of self-induced errors, the fumbles, the offsides, the foolish penalties, those are things that will drive a coach crazy when he's got a young team. You need to eliminate those things before you can become competitive.
3rd down and 5 for the Hoosiers. Rogers on his own. Take it out of bounds near the 27-yard line. Gain of a couple of yards, but he's short of the first down. Tahani Jones closed quickly on the play. We have seen demonstration, Randy, of Michigan speed both on offense and defense here this afternoon.
And you're seeing it from a lot of different players at every position. We've seen it in the defensive backfield. We've seen it at linebackers. We've seen it with the pass rush on offense. You've seen it from a variety of different backs. So it's just something you can't replace, is that team speed.
Sutkowski's punt to Russell Shaw. And it is a booming kick through the hands of Shaw. Picks it up near the 1. Shaw out across the 10-yard line, and down he goes at the 12. So Michigan will start this drive deep in its own territory. 8:40 to go in the 3rd, and the Wolverines beginning to clear out this homecoming crowd in Indiana. You don't want to quit even though the game is out of hand right now, and watch evidence on this punt return just a moment ago. Randy, there's the coverage coming down as the freshman O.J. Spencer. Watch him overrun the play, and now look what happens. Stop.
Comes back and makes a stop. Those are things that a coach instills in his players. You play hard till the final whistle.
Clarence Williams out across the 15-yard line. Escorted into the chalk marks in rather rude fashion by Jamar Robinson, as you would expect. Let's take a look at the Amoco Big Ten leaders, brought to you by Amoco. You expect more from a leader. Tavian Banks is at Ohio State today. We're going to find out a lot about him and the Iowa team. Billy Dicken off to that. Brian Musso is one of the few bright spots for Northwestern thus far this season. 2nd down, previous play for Michigan. Off the flank is Ray Jackson, and he has stood up and driven back. And there again, pursuit by the Indiana defense. And you got to admire the fact that they don't appear to be a team that's quit or shut it down here despite the score.
Oh, that was something that Cam Cameron and John Haycock, the defense coordinator, both told us they have not seen that, and you won't see it again with the Cam Cameron team. And so far, they're going till the whistle blows. And Michigan's got a new quarterback in there now, Tom Brady, number 10. This is a guy that they are very, very high on.
Brady out of San Mateo, California. A sophomore has really come on. 3rd down and almost 10 yards to go. Brady sets up the screen pass. Williams trying to outrun Robinson, and Robinson rides him down. That middle linebacker for the Indiana Hoosiers has been all over the field, and that time he caught up with a fleet running back, Clarence Williams. Brought him down after a gain of about 3 or 4 yards. It is 4th down for Michigan.
Robinson doing a nice job that time, recognizing the play early and getting out there before Williams could get his momentum going.
We'll see all of the kids who dressed for Michigan here this afternoon. Jason Vincent, a walk-on. Corey Sargent was going to be the punter for Michigan this year, but he has a bad back, so Jason Vincent, the walk-on, has gotten the call, and he's punted very well for the Wolverines coming into today's game. And a hold up here on the field, and I'm trying to think if the officials called for a timeout with 7:14 to go.
Talking a few minutes ago about Tom Brady, the backup quarterback for Michigan. Yesterday, talking to Mike DeBoer, have you ever seen an offensive coordinator, his face light up when he was talking about a backup? Talking a few minutes ago about Tom Brady, the backup quarterback for Michigan. Yesterday, talking to Mike DeBoer, have you ever seen an offensive coordinator, his face light up when he was talking about a backup quarterback? He just thinks this guy is really going to be a player. And as a sophomore and Greasy's a senior, Brady's got an excellent opportunity to take over the reins of quarterback for the next couple of years. And the board just thinks this guy could really develop and become a good, solid leader and a good player. He's got great size, 6'5", 225 pounds. Be a real player.
Don't forget they've got Scott Dreisbach as a junior as well. He'll be back next year, you would expect. We'll see. Michigan's got depth in that backfield, that's for sure, both at running back and quarterback. A low snap. Vincent gets his kick away. Joey Ellums makes the catch at the 44, and he's going nowhere. Excellent coverage by the Michigan special teams. And let's go to the sidelines. Jim Barber.
Thank you, Wayne. Katie Weismiller heads up the women's team here at Indiana as well.
Absolutely. You know, it was great to come out here. We've had a lot of support from the community, from the fans, and that's really our seventh player on the field.
All right, thank you, Katie. Indiana 15-1 in women's volleyball. Let's get back to Wayne and Randy.
Thank you very much, Jim. Dwayne Hogan on an 8-yard run. Second down coming up for Indiana. Let's get back to Mike Gleason at Studio 66.
Well, Wayne, Pittsburgh.
Indiana on second down calls another running play out to the 50-yard line, where the Hoosiers are about a yard short of that first down. And getting the call, Glenn Johnson, number 33 in your picture. Johnson missed last week's game, had an ankle injury. Wayne Larrivee along with Randy Wright and Jim Barber. It's good to have you with us on this homecoming weekend in central Indiana. Big Ten football, Memorial Stadium in Bloomington. The Indiana Hoosiers and the Michigan Wolverines. One thing you could say about the Hoosiers, they didn't duck anybody on homecoming.
There are no ducks in this conference.
No. They took on the Michigan Wolverines. Usually homecoming, you get somebody you can really beat like a drum, but that wasn't the case here. Little option play here, and Johnson gets the call, and it appears he's got a first down or close to it, just across the 50-yard line.
I think Johnson is one of those backs that really had some playing time earlier. He got hurt, and that gave Dwayne Hogan the opportunity to step up last week against Wisconsin. And with such a strong performance, Hogan has solidified his #1 spot. This is what you can do with a mobile quarterback. You can run the option. He does a nice job of pitching the ball out there. Johnson does a nice job picking up just the 1 yard that he needed.
So it's a first down for the Indiana Hoosiers. Well, I'll tell you, this Michigan defense, though, Randy, rock solid, aren't they? Very few mistakes. And they've got a lot of changes, a lot of new people in there right now. Going over the top and well overthrown. Jay Rogers intended for the freshman wide receiver O.J. Connor. Mike Gleason, what do you have on Florida State, Miami?
Oh, Wayne, Bobby Bowden has got
Florida State, Michigan been here this afternoon. And Jay Rogers, 114 yards passing. Last week, of course, he had over 200 yards passing. Had 408 yards passing a few games ago against Ball State. Rogers waits for the pattern to open over the middle and overshot the freshman, and the interception, will it stand? A diving grab made. It's going to be Michigan football. Adrian Taylor makes the interception on the overthrow of O.J. Connor by the quarterback, Jay Rogers.
One of the times where Rogers has plenty of time and just overthrows the receiver. You can't throw the ball high or late over the middle. When you do, you give the safeties too much of a chance to react. Just a high pass right there. Taylor did a nice job of reading it and making a nice catch.
So Tom Brady, quarterback for Michigan on first down. Anthony Thomas out of play. Gain of a yard or two.
When you were talking about that Michigan defense and how solid they are, and I think that last interception by Taylor is a good example of how everybody is playing very well. That's why they're playing so well as a unit. Sure, they've got Charles Woodson, who's their star, but other than that, everybody's capable of making a play, and when you do that, you can continue that for the entire season. You're going to be very, very good.
The defense in the cool zone at the moment. It's been a warm afternoon here in Bloomington. Second down, about 9 to go. And Thomas again. We're going to get a good look at a lot of the young Michigan backs on this football team. And now a late flag is Joey King got into it with a Michigan defender, or a Michigan running back, I believe it was. I believe he and Demetrius Smith went at it briefly. The flags came flying. John Perry will get it straightened out and tell us about it. So personal foul both ways, offsetting penalties.
When you talk about the offsetting penalties, that happens after the play here is a little pushing and shoving and unnecessary. Not very harmful, but still unnecessary.
It was not Smith, the running back, but it was anyway. The Wolverines now on third down. Third down at about 8. Brady got a man wide open and got him for a first down out near the midfield marker. The reception made on the play by Kevin Bryant. Patrick Shaw had the coverage. It's a first down.
Nice job by Brady showing his arm strength. When you've got plenty of time in the pocket, he whips that ball out there. That ball gets all the way out to the corner in a hurry. And say Brady doesn't have many questions about his arm strength.
Wolverines at the midfield marker. Motion from Aaron Wright. Anthony Thomas and Jason Zapp met him in the gap and brought him down after a gain of about 5 yards to the 45-yard line of Indiana. Coming up on 4 minutes to go in the third quarter.
When you talked earlier about Michigan giving their young players a chance, when you've got Chris Howard and Chris Floyd, your starting backfield, both seniors. Clarence Williams, he's a junior. Even some of the wideouts. Russell Saw, he's a senior. Ty Street's a junior. You got to get those young players an opportunity to carry the ball and play when they can.
Down at about 5. Thomas, a big hole to get through this time. Robinson missed him. McGrath brought him down, saving a touchdown. Anthony Thomas, when he gets rambling, I'll tell you what, he is not only hard to catch, but hard to bring down. A 19-yard gain to a first down.
Nice big hole. Good job of blocking by the offensive line. Little trap again. They bring the guard and they bring the back over. And when you get Thomas going full speed before contact, and he, as you said, he's tough to catch. He's tough to bring down from the front and from behind.
Football near the 25-yard line. And Thomas once again, this time is met at the flank. And Gunlia and Mandina make the stop for Indiana. So it'll be second down upcoming for Michigan. Loss of a couple of yards.
Boy, it just makes it so much easier to run when you get some blocking. The play before, huge hole. Thomas 19 yards. That time, nice job by Indiana's defensive line. Really wasn't a hole there.
Second down. It's a little bit more than 11 yards to go. Michigan on the drive once again. Bryant in motion. McCall this time. Had a hole for a moment, and a good move made by Damian Gregory to bring him down. So it'll be a third down for Michigan. He might have gotten a yard on that play. Third and about 10. If you're the Michigan Wolverines, this has been a very impressive performance when you consider you're coming in on the road. It's your first road game of the season. You were efficient in the first half offensively. You took advantage of your opportunities. Didn't turn the ball over. A lot of positives for this Wolverine team as they head toward the lion's share of the Big Ten schedule. Third down and Brady over the middle. And Knight, Marcus Knight makes the catch, but he's short of the first down at the 23-yard line of Indiana.
What you haven't seen Michigan do today, Wayne, is the mistake, the turnover, the interception. You haven't seen the drop balls, those things that veteran players do. And Indiana will get there as their players gain that experience.
Good coverage right here.
Good coverage. You'll give him the short game because it's 3rd and 11. Once they know where the ball's going and he catches it, come up and make the tackle.
Greg Baker will try a 40-yard field goal. That's about his range. His long this year is 37. Pretty much a straight-on kick, and Baker has enough leg strength, and he's got it on the money. So Craig Baker adds another 3 points to the Michigan total. It's 37-0 Wolverines with a minute 31 to go in this third quarter. Now let's take a look at our NTB Students of the Game, brought to you by NTB.
That has more starts than anybody for this Indiana defense. He was strong safety, came in this year with 32 starts, but yet he hasn't been a starter this year. He was a backup strong safety. Just this week they moved him to outside linebacker. Said his work ethic has been wonderful, and for a guy that has started in the past, not this year, he's setting a good example for some of those younger players.
One of the few Hoosiers that has that kind of experience. Indiana's current starting lineup coming into today's game started a combined 35 games prior to this 1997 season. Warnicki no longer a starter on that defense, but has played a prominent role coming off the bench. Once again, Jay Feely. Let's see if he gives him an opportunity to return a kick. Nope. He's going to boom another one through the end zone. So Indiana will take over at the 20. Scoring drive by the Michigan Wolverines. Their second of this third quarter. Second time they've settled for a field goal today.
Indiana's defense forcing 2 field goals this quarter instead of letting Michigan come down and get the ball in the end zone.
Michigan next week will take on Northwestern up at the Big House.
I think there's a little revenge on their mind after the last 2 seasons.
No question. Northwestern has won close ball games against Michigan the last 2 seasons. Jay Rogers still in at quarterback. Randy Maxwell in motion, and Rogers looking that way. Now Rogers flushed. Gets it away to O.J. Connor. Connor brought down short of the line of scrimmage. Loss of 2. William Peterson made the stop for Michigan. And to get inside the huddle of your favorite Big Ten team, go online at www.big10.org for all the football and conference news from around the Big Ten. That's something that Randy Wright does often on that computer. You're constantly in the huddle, aren't you, in the Big Ten?
You got more dots and more W's than that little saying than I've said in 3 years.
But Jim Barber and I are still trying to figure out the W's and the dots and where they go. Second down at about 12. Rogers, little dump off pass. Lynn Johnson nowhere to go, and Michigan's fresh troops on defense hem him in after a gain of a couple of yards. Back to Jim Barber. Jim.
Thank you, Wayne. Brian Griese done for the rest of the day because of Michigan's 37-0 lead. He has a strained muscle on the right side. Took a couple of big hits during the game. He was limping as he took to the sidelines. Continued to play. Obviously won't play the rest of the way, and the docs say he will be okay.
All right, Jim. And Brian Griese, a good afternoon of work for him. Take a look, career leaders. Well,
this is Wayne from a guy that didn't even start last year.
Third down and a little bit more than 9 yards to go, and running for his life is Jay Rogers, and down he goes short of the line of scrimmage, a loss of a yard or 2. Third period has wound to a close. Michigan outscored Indiana 6-0 in the third quarter to add to a 31-0 halftime lead. It's 37-0 Michigan heading to the fourth. Bloomington, Indiana, Michigan leading 37-0 as we head to the fourth quarter. Wayne Larrivee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber, good to have you with us. Good size homecoming crowd was on hand here, but the Wolverines in their performance kind of cleaned the stands a little bit. Russell Shaw back deep to receive this punt from Alan Sapkowski, the all-time leading punter in Hoosier history. Sapkowski mishandled that snap a little bit, but got a beautiful punt away right at Shaw. The line drive kick, Shaw able to make something of it. And look at this. Out across the 45-yard line, Russell Shaw making like Charles Woodson, and Michigan will start this next drive out across the Wolverine 45 near the 47. Break of the action. We'll be right back. First down for the Michigan Wolverines at the 46 of Michigan, and Brady back to throw. And a man wide open. The pass sails wide of the mark, incomplete. That was Marcus Knight, the intended receiver. Brady's pass seemed to wobble a bit there, Randy.
Seemed to wobble quite a bit, and big difference when you're thrown into the wind like that.
Let's go back to the studio. Mike Gleason. Mike.
Okay, Wayne, Florida State's defense pitching a shutout today. Shevin Smith intercepts Ryan Clements, setting up another score. Miami's been held to 52 yards of total offense today. They're in the fourth, same scores as yours, 37-0, Florida State. Wayne.
52 yards of offense for Miami. My goodness. And the freshman Thomas roped down across the 46 out near the 49-yard line. Curtis Randall L. made the stop. And look at the third quarter numbers, or the stats through 3 quarters, I should say. Michigan on the ground. Indiana again a lot when sacks come off the running game. Subtract that yardage from the running game. Passing yardage, Michigan getting good production there, and total yardage, and again the turnover situation. 3 for Indiana, none for Michigan here today. It is third down. Brady looking to improvise. Screens it out. He's got a first down. Thomas fumbled the football as he was brought down. I believe Indiana's got it. Anthony Thomas, the freshman, off a beautiful screen pass from quarterback Tom Brady, fumbled the football, and the Hoosiers apparently have it.
Started out as a nice play by Brady to come out and break, contain, and find Thomas, but good job by Indiana's pursuit to catch up to Thomas, knock that ball loose, and force the turnover.
James Lamar appeared to be the man to recover the football. The penalty is against Michigan for an ineligible receiver downfield. And now John Perry has squared it.
Disregard the flag. There was no foul on the play. Pass did not cross the line of scrimmage. First down, Indiana.
All right. So they pick up the flag. Take a look at the end of the play here. The cutback by Thomas. Well, when you're waving that football and the hit from behind triggered it loose.
Joslyn Goodman, number 21, continuing to try on the play. Fights from behind, catches up to Thomas, and swats that ball loose.
So out of the shotgun now, Earl Hannaford in at quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman from Martinsville, Indiana. Hannaford hits his man out across the 30-yard line. Ben Klusmeyer, the tight end, out to the 31-yard line. Hannaford, a Parade All-America selection in 1995, was Indiana's Mr. Football, and he's the yardage record holder in passing in Indiana football. Watch it again, Randy.
Start out with a nice read, just dumps the ball right over to Klusmeyer, who continues to fight for anything he can get. And you know, Ben Klusmeyer is a story here at Indiana also. A senior tight end, started 10 games last year. This year hadn't played very much at all, with Randy Maxwell taking the majority of plays.
Second down and about 3 yards to go. Hannaford pumped once and now hits his man. Got a first down. That's Gene Paul, a junior from Naples, Florida. Gene Paul with the reception up at the 45-yard line. And of course, Gene Paul has somewhat of a career connection with Cam Cameron. Cam Cameron played for both the football squad and the basketball squad here at Indiana. Gene Paul has seen action on both sides of the parking lot here in Bloomington as well.
And Paul has been hurt. This is some of the action that we're seeing today, the play right now, but he has not played very much all year. He's really the only receiver on Indiana's roster with any experience.
Paul, a member of the IU basketball squad the last couple of seasons as a walk-on. Hannaford sets up a screen play. Glenn Johnson cutting it back. And he's out to the 50-yard line, gain of about 5. Dhani Jones on the stop for the Michigan Wolverines.
Hannaford back at quarterback, as you said, he came out of high school, Wayne, so highly recruited, All-American, and such high expectations, really hasn't had a chance to play very much. And Jay Rogers, who started in the middle of last season, has really played fairly well up until this point, and much more mobile than a Hannaford. And you can see where Rogers' running ability has helped him out. Hannaford, big reason why he hasn't seen as much action.
Johnson inside Wolverine territory. It'll be third down and short coming up. Assembly Hall, where the basketball team plays. And as you pan back across the parking lot to the rim of Memorial Stadium, Cam Cameron knows both sides of the parking lot here in Bloomington, as he says. He played for both the football squad and the basketball squad, and he says what he'd like to build on this side of the parking lot is the same kind of mentality they have on the other side at Assembly Hall. And that's what he'll try to instill in his football team. They took no solace in the moral victory of that game last week. Glenn Johnson cartwheeled in his effort to get a first down. It's going to be fourth down coming up.
That's a good point, Wayne. Cam Cameron will tell you that winning starts mentally. You have to think you can do it, then you have to get the players. Here you see Michigan coming hard with their surge from their defensive line. Johnson doing the little 360 over the air there that time, and coming up short.
4th down, a short yardage situation, and Hannaford looks to the sideline to get the play. Well, you're right, Randy. I mean, Cam Cameron said it's a mental thing. That's the whole factor that he's trying to build in this football program. And Hannaford on a keeper. Reaches for the first down in front of the Michigan bench at the Wolverine 45-yard line. So Earl Hannaford gets it done.
A nice fake here to Johnson in the backfield. Hannaford's got just enough speed to get to that first down marker.
Ian Gold over to make the stop. So Indiana trying to move the football here, trying to get some things done. There's a look at Cam Cameron. Again, the difference between winners and losers, Randy, is often, obviously there's physical talent on this level, obviously, but the other factor is the mental aspect of the game, and that's what Cam Cameron talked about yesterday. Hannaford looking to go downfield, everybody covered. Hannaford on his own now. And hammered out of bounds near the 43-yard line. The Studio 66, Mike Gleason, what's happening with Auburn? Earl Hannaford got a tough couple of yards just a moment ago.
You'll learn quickly you get out of bounds when you can. You don't need to take those kind of hits.
They're going to mark it as a gain of 1. It's 2nd and 9. Hannaford off play action. Looking downfield. Off the hands of the intended receiver on the play, Gene Paul. Hannaford really drilled that one. And there's a look at Gene Paul.
Would have been a tough catch for Gene Paul. One thing Hannaford does is you look at him here, he's staring the receiver down. You pump, and then he doesn't throw the ball. And when you go that way, you give the defense a little more time to close because they're reading your eyes as you're looking at the receiver. That time, Paul and the ball and the contact all got there at the same time.
And Randy, on the replay, I didn't see it live, but on the replay, you could see that ball. He almost tried to throw it too hard. It was wobbling as it got to the receiver. Not an easy catch for the receiver. Kind of a knuckleball coming at him. 3rd down now. 3rd and 9. Michigan coming on a blitz. They picked it up well. Hannaford's pass again wobbles, and this time it's behind the receiver decidedly at the 30-yard line. Bluesmeyer, the intended receiver, and it's 4th down for Indiana.
Indiana does a nice job of picking up this blitz. The backs step in there and pick that up. Really a lot of time for Hannaford to throw it in an open receiver. Once again, the ball just sails too high on him, and Indiana fortunate that ball didn't get intercepted.
Hannaford threw for over 11,000 yards at his high school career. 3rd all-time nationally with 111 touchdowns. Now it's 4th down and 9 for Indiana. Through the hands of Hannaford, he recovers. Trying to hit his man over the middle on the crossing pattern. Marcus Floyd through the hands of Floyd, and Michigan will take over at the Wolverine 43. This game has been dominated by the Michigan Wolverines, 37-0 over the homestanding Hoosiers. Well, as expected, Penn State rolling up big at Illinois. We'll see Illinois next week. Meanwhile, Michigan leading big here takes over from the Wolverine 43-yard line. Tom Brady in relief of Brian Griese at quarterback for Michigan. The Wolverines have emptied out their bench basically. Brady tried to force that one in there. Nice play made by O.J. Spencer, intended for Aaron Wright. First Plus Financial game summary. Michigan, as we mentioned, has had a good day offensively, to say the least. Their defense has smothered the Hoosiers. Griese, a very efficient afternoon. 3rd down conversions. Indiana has been absolutely awful in that category, and that's one of the reasons why they've been unable to sustain anything here today. 2nd down, and the Wolverines call on Patrick McCall. And McCall out near the midfield marker on the near sidelines. Let's go back to Jim Barber.
Thank you, Wayne. Here on the sidelines, ambitions, besides winning, which is the obvious one, is to fill the stadium. Can he do it?
We had a very good attendance today. I think the fans like this kind of football. I think they'll stand behind us, yes.
You enjoy seeing this type of football, basketball sometimes as they call it, on the football field?
Oh, this is exciting football. It's run and pass. Kids are working hard. They're doing well.
Miles, our pleasure. Thanks for joining us on the sideline.
You bet. My pleasure.
Let's head back upstairs to Wayne and Randy.
Thank you very much, Jim. little swing pass to Patrick McCall gets a first down for Michigan in Indiana territory at the 41-yard line. So the Wolverines continue their march. 9:06 left to go. And they're getting a lot of their young people experience here in this conference opener for Michigan. And Anthony Thomas breaks one tackle and another. And is wrapped up as he noses the football just inside the 40-yard line to the 39.
Good shot of gang tackling that time by Indiana, down 37-0, and yet you see 6-7 red jerseys coming over to the ball, getting a helmet in on the tackle.
Gain of a couple of yards. It's second down coming up for Michigan. And we get a look at the freshman, Anthony Thomas. They are, as we mentioned, very high on him. Was a tailback and place kicker in high school. Gained over 7,500 yards rushing. 93 touchdowns in his high school career. You don't often see that combination. Running back, place kicker.
No, that's rare.
Second down at about 8. Brady again. Boy, the swing pass has been open all day into the flat. And nice tackle made in the open field by McGrath on Anthony Thomas.
You don't see that combination, but I don't think Michigan had any question where they were going to play him at if it came down to having to choose.
You know, we're seeing a lot of true freshmen on the field. For Indiana, the reason is obvious. They don't have a lot of experienced senior players or junior players in their program. For Michigan, you're seeing more true freshmen because it is a sign of the times, especially at the, we talked to Lloyd Carr about this, especially at the skill position areas. You may not have a kid play 5 years in his college career, spend 5 years in his college career. He may spend 4, maybe he leaves after 3 years, especially the skilled people. Third down, Brady under pressure, and wrapped up on the play. Nick Abruzzo, defensive end, gets a sack for Indiana. Back to the midfield marker are the Wolverines.
Take a look at this Indiana defense coming through, putting pressure on Brady. He doesn't have anywhere to go with the ball, and Abruzzo does a nice job of wrapping him up. Wayne, what you were talking about, I think there are 2 reasons why you see so many young players. Number one, like you mentioned, players may not stay 4 or 5 years. They're going to leave early. And secondly, you have to promise a kid now that he's going to play early because kids want to play as freshmen. They want to get a chance to play right away. So in order to do that, you got to promise them that he'll have an opportunity.
Indiana will take this offensive opportunity, 1st and 10 from their 14-yard line when we resume in Bloomington. 4th victory of the season. They'll be 4-0 following the completion of this 4th quarter. Wayne Larrivee, Randy Wright, Jim Barber. It's homecoming in Bloomington, Indiana at Memorial Stadium. And we have 6:55 left to go, 4th quarter. Earl Hannaford in a quarterback in place of Jay Rogers for the Hoosiers, and the handoff to Gaddis, and he is nabbed. Boy, I tell you, that was a jailbreak up front. We'll make that Grubbs on the carry. And Nate Miller in on that stop for Michigan. Deion Grubbs, the ball carrier. Brian Griese is our Dodge player of the game. A look at his numbers. An efficient passing afternoon for Griese. And a lot of it came in the little screen passes and dump off passes over the middle. This one to Ty Straits, scored a touchdown. Griese worked that short passing game to perfection here today. Penalty markers down earlier. They hold up the action on 2nd and 14 for Indiana. So this will go against the Hoosiers.
But Griese is just perfect for that Michigan offense. He's got so much talent around him that he does a nice job of putting the ball where it needs to be, throws the ball very well, makes very, very good decisions. Just excellent for this system.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, half the distance to the goal, still 2nd down.
In talking with Mike DeBoard, the Michigan offensive coordinator, he was discussing Brian Griese and mentioning how the kid makes just great decisions every time with the ball. He's a 5th-year senior, as we mentioned earlier today. He dedicated himself to come back this season and take the #1 job, and that's exactly what he's done. And his decision-making process is what has been so impressive to the Michigan people.
He comes in, he studies a lot of game film. He knows his opponent as well as the coaching staff does.
Grubbs gets the call, and Deion Grubbs goes wide and out of bounds near the 10-yard line. Eric Wilson forced him out. Well, some smiles on that Michigan sideline. Last week at this time, they were trying to hang on against Notre Dame, committing one turnover after another.
You look at Lord Carr, until this game is over, you're not going to know whether they're ahead or not. He doesn't show a lot of emotion anytime, especially during the middle of a game. Learn that from Bo Schembechler, you think?
I would think so. As long as the clock was still ticking, Bo was very serious about what was going on. Third down for Indiana, about 14 yards to go for the Hoosiers. David Ballou was the man in motion. Hannaford looking to the air. Hits to Ballou with the pass, and he is wrapped up immediately on the play by Ian Gold, the linebacker. There's a penalty marker down. Michigan today, as we mentioned, the one turnover so far in the ball game today by Michigan. It was inconsequential, and it happened in the second half when Michigan was well ahead. And the penalties, they've done a pretty good job of the penalty department. They were concerned about that coming in, that their offense has been plagued by turnovers and penalties in recent weeks, but today they have been very good.
In the offense, penalty is used. We'll take the result of the play. Fourth down.
So fourth down, and Alan Sitkowski will come on once again in punt formation. Just inside of 5 minutes to go in the football game. Whitley back deep to receive this punt from Sitkowski. And he gets away a beautiful spiral. Whitley over the shoulder it goes. Whitley trying to chase down, and does, near the 13. Trying to change direction. Got a great block on the flank, and he's out to the 20-yard line. Outstanding block made by William Peterson. Michigan will start near its 20-yard line when we resume in the fourth quarter. Right, Jim Barber, Michigan in command with 4.5 minutes to go in the football game. Our Outback Steakhouse outstanding back of the game, Chris Howard of the Michigan Wolverines. Watch him right here on this 3-yard touchdown run of the second quarter. This to put Michigan up 9-0. The extra point made it 10-0, and the Wolverines were off to the races from there. They led 3-0 at the end of one quarter and had built that lead up to 31-0 at halftime. Chris Howard, our Outback back of the game.
Very effective in the passing game, too. Michigan running a lot of screens, a lot of swing passes. Howard having a big day on the ground and through the air.
Jason Kapsener, the new quarterback, in for Michigan. And getting the call down the sidelines, Ray Jackson, yet another true freshman running back for Michigan. Boy, they just keep wheeling him out there, don't they? I tell you, the depth, they penalty marker down on this play, but the depth that Michigan has in the backfield is really something.
And that's something that a lot of teams don't have now, is the depth, because of the 85 scholarships and because of several other things. But Jackson, he's been very impressive. Anthony Thomas, a true freshman, very impressive. I'd just like to have Ray Jackson and Anthony Thomas, both true freshmen, starting in your backfield.
I think you'd find room for him, as Lloyd Carr did in Michigan. It's just that with a program like Michigan, you're not used to seeing true freshmen play much.
Holding on the offense. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Replay, first down.
So the holding penalty wipes out what might have been a first down and leaves first down at about 12 yards to go. Back at the 17-yard line. Kapsener at quarterback. Kapsener going downfield this time, and he's got his man, Marcus Knight. One of the bigger pass plays of the day for Michigan, out to the 37-yard line. So first down, Michigan on a 20-yard pass play.
Brady again having success throwing the ball to the outside, a corner route. He gets good protection, puts a lot of air under the ball. When you throw the ball like that as a quarterback, you put air underneath it. You give the receiver a chance to adjust to it. Doesn't have to be a perfectly thrown ball, but Jasper Kapsener that time, nice job.
So Michigan goes on first down. Coming up on 4 minutes to go in the football game. Nice move by Jackson. He was hit hard and driven down by Nick Abruzzo. And a gain of about 7 or 8 yards. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Michigan Wolverines. And they are just getting into the lion's share of their schedule now in Big Ten play. Northwestern next week at home. Iowa, that'll be a big game. Then Iowa, Michigan State back-to-back. And then you're going to find later in November Penn State and Wisconsin back-to-back. So,
and what's not on there? Ohio State. Last game at Ohio State. I think it's at Ohio State this year.
The handoff on the running play up the middle. Demetrius Smith, the big fullback, gets the call. If I'm not mistaken, It's at Ann Arbor.
Is it at
this
Ann
year.
Arbor?
Yes, they beat them in Columbus last year. The Indiana Hoosiers' upcoming schedule. Michigan State will be up next for the Hoosiers. Then at Ohio State, at Iowa, Illinois at home, then Minnesota and Purdue. So first down for the Michigan Wolverines at the 49-yard line. And again, as you mentioned, Randy, Michigan will finish up with Ohio State per usual in one of the best traditional rivalries in college football.
Michigan has owned that rivalry the last several years. John Cooper having outstanding teams at Ohio State, but Michigan has owned that series the last 7, 8, 9 years.
Tate Shansky, the latest Michigan runner to get a call. He is a sophomore, redshirt sophomore out of Perry, Michigan.
You watch this Michigan team offensively, defensively, special teams. They just don't seem to have a weakness.
Very solid throughout, Randy, and I think their defense is better than solid. I really do. And they've done a great job thus far this season. Once again, straight ahead dive, and the Michigan Wolverines continue to move the clock. It'll be third down and short coming up, and Jackson got the call that time.
Whenever you've got a Charles Woodson on your defense, you've got a guy that create big plays, whether it be coming up and making a big hit, taking your best receiver totally out of the game, or making the interception. He's just a guy that can change your offensive game plan.
Third down, about a yard to go for Michigan. Football just outside the Indiana 46. Oh, and Jackson slipped a defender. Curtis Randall L. makes the tackle, but not before Michigan moves the chains. Inside of 2 minutes left to go. When you look at what the Michigan defense has done, held Colorado to 3 points in the opener, Baylor to 3 points, and then Notre Dame did get 14 points on them. But what was impressive about that game, Randy, was in the fourth quarter, 3 times the Michigan offense turned over the football in Michigan territory, and 3 times in the fourth quarter the Michigan defense turned the Irish away.
The other thing I think is very important also is coming into this game, Michigan had played 3 games. There had only been 5 times the opponent had the ball inside the 20-yard line.
Kapsner looking for a receiver, nearly picked away. Curtis Randall L., whose brother Antoine is going to be a quarterback in this program before it's all said and done. He's redshirting this year. Nearly picked that away. Randall L. moved to the strong safety position for Indiana this week, and he gives them a good coverage man at that strong safety spot. Minute 24 to go in the game.
Much more like a linebacker. He can hit. He's got good coverage ability. He's going to be a good addition to them back there.
Second down at 10 yards to go now for the Wolverines. Kapsner from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Jackson breaks a tackle and gets inside the 35, down near the 32-yard line. Ray Jackson, an impressive runner as well. Don't forget, next week we will be back in Madison, Wisconsin. Wisconsin next week.
Ron Dane healthy again after being banged up earlier in the year. We saw him last week, ran for over 200 yards, and he's an awfully powerful back. You ever seen a guy that big runs that fast?
Quickness, that's the thing that he has that is special. Not only is he big, he's quick. Randall L. shaken up on the play, is assisted off the field. 60 seconds remaining, make it 70 seconds remaining of this football game. So Michigan will be off to a 4-0 start with a home engagement against Northwestern next week. And the Indiana Hoosiers will fall to 1-4 on the campaign. Michigan on third down. Jackson fumbles the football, gets it back, and then he's bulldogged down back outside the 40-yard line. Our Las Vegas Tourism play of the game. And take a look at it. This is what Michigan did so well here today offensively. Great timing on the screen. Quick pass over to Floyd. Got a block in front. and made the turn around that block by Chris Seaman and motored down the sidelines to help set up another Michigan score.
Set up one of the early Michigan touchdowns, but it was that play more than any other play today, Wayne, that really did the damage to Indiana's defense. Whether it was Floyd or Howard, that screen play they ran to perfection.
Final seconds ticking away. Jason Vincent in punt formation. I don't know if he'll even get it off, but let's see. And here's the snap. He does get it away. As time winds down to this football game, the Michigan Wolverines did what they had to do on the road. They came in, they established control of this football game in the second quarter and stormed to a 37-0 victory over the Indiana Hoosiers. Cam Cameron and Lloyd Carr spent some time together on the Michigan staff not long ago. Shake hands at the 50-yard line, and the Wolverines keep their record unblemished at 4-0. Next week, Big Ten.